Hello.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you to our replay viewers watching this video back right now. Welcome back to Buchanan Buzz, the show that talks about PR fails. We are your hosts, Katie Byrne, Lauren Force. We are account executives and co-leads of digital strategy at Buchanan. So we're back under unusual circumstances. This Facebook Live, our one a couple of weeks ago in San Diego, was also thrown off because we were at Social Media Marketing World. And isn't it crazy how in 2 weeks we went from being in San Diego?
Yeah.
Coronavirus was obviously huge. It was bad in other parts of the world. It hadn't really hit the US yet, but now it's obviously what everybody is talking about.
And now we're quarantined in our homes.
So we really have no choice but to make the topic of this week's episode coronavirus fails and the good things that people are doing too, because we know this is a hard and stressful time. So we do want to bring some good brand responses here so we can all, come together in this time, because it is a hard time for all of you working from home, having to homeschool your children.
Yes.
We are here for you.
And I'd like to clarify that Lauren and I are practicing social distancing because, shockingly, we also live together. So we are coming at you live today within the confines of our apartment that we normally live in. So we're not breaking any rules and meeting up to do this Facebook Live show and risking more social distancing and infection.
And if it looks like I'm looking down, it's because I have the Facebook Live up on my phone so I can see better if you guys have any questions. But once again, we always encourage you to ask us questions because we like interacting with you. We want to know if there are any brands or celebrities, sports teams, responses that you particularly liked or didn't like. That would be awesome, because
like if the Eagles are disappointing you in free agency like they are to me.
Yes.
But another note before we get started, obviously we live together, so that means our dogs are here as well. So Ricky and Shiloh are just quarantined with us as well, so as you can imagine, they can get a little amped if you hear them barking or growling. Ricky loves to stare out the window and bark at people that he cannot get close to, and Shiloh loves to cry to me to throw him the toy. So just be forewarned that these are all potential parts of this Facebook Live.
And we're curious too where you're all joining us from.
Yes.
Because we live together, obviously, and we're in our apartment in Conshohocken, but curious where you're all working remotely from, or if you're still working in your office. We'd love to hear about that too.
Yeah. And feel free to drop in the comments also if you have tips for working from home. I think that'll be good for people to see on the playback as well. But I think we'll jump right into it. I think maybe let's start with a good coronavirus response.
That's what I was thinking too.
Since
start and end with it, maybe.
Start on a high note and end on a high note.
Yeah.
But I think I want to start with Guinness, just because we're a day off of St. Patrick's Day here. As an Irish girl, it was sad for me to be inside and not be able to enjoy a pint. But I think, obviously, Guinness is a global company. They serve their beer year-round, but obviously St. Patrick's Day is a huge time of year for them because they're in Ireland and people associate Guinness with St. Patrick's Day and people being Irish and that celebration. I think their response was really great.
There's Ricky growling at people 500 feet below, 4 feet down.
Yeah. So if you didn't see, they posted a video basically discussing the history of St. Patrick's Day and saying that we will march again. They have a 9,000-year lease on their brewery and they're not going anywhere. And while, it's sad that we all can't be enjoying a pint together, just to be surrounded by friends and family during this time is what's really important. So I think they really took it in stride that this is a huge marketing opportunity and time for them that's obviously kind of being steamrolled by coronavirus. And I thought a video was a really engaging way to do it also, because people are cooped up, they're reading the news constantly and just constantly reading text, and to kind of break up that monotony with a video that had a lighthearted note, I think was really great.
And you know what I also really loved about Guinness was that they weren't just selling their product, being like, we have a deal 40% off. It was, they know the struggle that we're all feeling together right now, and it wasn't about let's sell Guinness. It was, we're here for you. Let's all march again, be here for each other. So I think that was a great way to, you know, obviously promote itself, but also caring about it, putting its customers first.
Yeah, and I think I see that Julie Byrne
She
said,
wants to know what we thought about Disney.
Oh,
Disney's
okay.
response.
Well, for those of you who don't know, I think I mentioned it last week. My little sister was in Disney's college program, and obviously Disney World and Disneyland shut down and released statements that they were going to be paying their full-time workers to cover those, you know, the lack of working, but because the college students are temporary employees, they did choose to shut down the program and are sending all college participants home. So sad for her, but glad you're watching. Shout out to you. So I think Disney, I think I'm kind of mixed on their response. I think obviously it was very wise for them to shut down the park because it has huge international appeal. People fly a lot. Weirdly enough, there's a lot of people from the UK that come to Disney World, but I think what they didn't do well is leading into the final day before the park closed, they had a huge, massive celebration, and they had fireworks and a parade and all this stuff, and it's, you know...
Shiloh barking at nothing. Classic.
I think that it kind of defeats the purpose when you're doing that. Like, yes, you're giving people... You have to set a date when the park's going to close, but I think you should try and reduce the amount of massive public gatherings there are, so I would cut any parades, cut any fireworks celebrations. So I think Disney was a mixed bag. I think they made the right call. I think that some of the actions afterwards weren't great, and obviously, you know, it's sad for Julie that the college program ended, but I think ultimately it is the best decision for the health and safety of everyone there.
And I want to touch on a good one from my end, and Johnny just put this in the comments. All of the local small businesses who are really being hurt by this right now and are still going out of the way to put their customers first. I know a local yoga studio here in Conshohocken that I go to. They're offering classes, virtual live classes via Zoom every day this week. And for the foreseeable,
we did one, it was great.
We did one, yeah, for the foreseeable future. But they're not the only ones. A ton of local and small businesses are doing this too, from restaurants to workout facilities. Even this meditation app Headspace that I have, they're offering a bunch of work from home meditations and all of these type of wellness classes for free. So I think that's really great.
I just saw Jay just joined. Jay is a loyal follower of Buchanan Buzz. Hi, thanks for joining. I think, like as Lauren said, you know, there's a pizza place around, I'm from Bucks County, in Bucks County, that is selling make your own pizza kits, because obviously they have a huge amount of supply that isn't being used, so they're repurposing that so they're not losing those, you know, money on that and giving some people an activity to do. I think there was also, I saw in Philadelphia today, a huge number of events have obviously been canceled, so there's all these floral arrangements that have nowhere to go and nowhere to be used, so they brought them all into like parks today for people to bring them home and just add a little pop of, you know, happiness or flowers into their life. So I think the way that the community in a general sense has responded, especially local businesses, has been really impressive. I think obviously this can be a huge devastating time for small businesses who rely on having people come in daily, and they're being forced to shut down their business for the well-being of other people. And I think despite the fact that it's, you know, gonna potentially hurt their business, they're taking it in stride.
Yeah, and Renee, completely agree. All of the celebrities who are offering free concerts, John Legend.
Yes.
That's it's amazing how everyone's coming together. In Italy, I know people are getting on their balconies, musicians, and playing the piano and putting on little shows. It's great how humans can come together in times of crisis. But
I was going to say, not to bring it on down.
There are some fails, and we're going to get into them right now.
Vanessa
Hudgens.
So, speaking of the celebrities who did great things, Vanessa Hudgens was not one of them. She was on an Instagram Live yesterday and was taking questions from fans, and someone, I'm not sure specifically what question they asked, but it was in reference to some information that's been going around that this virus could potentially, this kind of situation we're in, could go until July or August. And she essentially said, I think that's a bunch of crap. It's a virus, you know, like, yeah, we should be careful, but like, people are gonna die, it's inevitable. And she was kind of really casual and cavalier in the way she was talking about a global pandemic, which people are going to take offense to that.
And it's incredibly detrimental too, because her audience, it's a lot of younger Gen Z, millennials, people who aren't as willing to practice social distancing as maybe our parents or grandparents are. So when you have a big celebrity going live and saying, it's fine, it's not a big deal, what does that message say to the younger people looking up to you? On the flip side, a lot of celebrities, Ariana Grande, are posting statements saying, hey guys, it's not cool, you don't go out, stay inside. For a lot of us, it's not even an option anymore anyway, but I think they need to be role models. They are a brand in essence, and they need to stand up right now and act as a leader.
Yeah, so that was definitely a PR fail. She did release a statement on Instagram later that night, apologizing and saying, you know, she is sorry for the way that she spoke, and she understands that it's serious. And I think it's important to note that, like, we have a very cancel culture-esque world right now, so it's good that she took credit and apologized, but I think especially celebrities who have a platform to actually encourage people to be a part of social distancing need to be very careful about what they're saying. So definitely a fail.
Yeah. Hello, Anne. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi,
Anne. Okay, another bad one, or a couple of bad ones that I want to touch on are Norwegian Cruise Lines and Lysol. Yeah. So two brands that are getting a lot of attention right now for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, cruises, not a good time to go on a cruise. Don't go on a cruise, not a good time to be advertising for cruises, especially not a good time to be advertising for your cruise while people are isolated on the Grand Princess. So Norwegian Cruise Lines was still running ads while there was in the middle of coverage about those isolated on the Grand Princess cruise. So and it's important here too, all of these big companies, of course, they have social media ads running, TV ads running, but this is just a cautionary tale that you need to be checking constantly your ads and how often you're running them, because you should be checking them daily, weekly, because if something huge like this happens and you just forgot that you were running your ads still on cruises, you're going to get backlash like this. And then Lysol also is still running social media ads, I think TV ads as well, but we can't even access the product. So I don't know why you would be continuing to run your advertising if we can't get the product.
It's, you know, we live in a world where we luckily have these great tools that we can, schedule things ahead of time and make things simpler, and you're able to work on multiple accounts and clients by using these tools, but you also just need to be vigilant during crises or times like this to check them. Just like she's saying with Lysol, Norwegian Cruises, ASOS was running a social campaign where they were promoting a chainmail face mask.
Back in August. It was before all of this, but you gotta immediately pull that.
You have to immediately pull that. And then KFC, again, companies spend months on advertising campaigns and communications campaigns. KFC was running an ad campaign specifically in the UK about their slogan, finger licking good, and it was people basically licking their fingers. And obviously, considering we're trying to tell people to wash their hands right now, not be touching people, licking their hands, and then touching other things.
Same with Geico had a high five ad that they continued to run, and it was a bunch of people giving high fives. These ones, KFC and Geico, a little less offensive, but you just reminds you that you need to be checking your ads and making sure that it couldn't offend anybody. Which of course it does in this time. And Liam wants to know, what about price gouging and the ethics of that? Well, I think it's really irresponsible, and you are supposed to report price gouging if you see it on Amazon. Anywhere.
Amazon has been pretty good about pulling down or banning people who have been price gouging. I read an article yesterday about a man and his brother. I can't remember the city they were in, but they essentially, on the first day of March, when they thought maybe this would be a thing, went and bought out all the stock of Lysol and hand sanitizer and were putting it up for hundreds of dollars, and they are getting a ton of backlash because they're claiming that they weren't trying to keep supplies away from people, but that's literally what they were trying to do. So I think price gouging,
it's bad.
It's bad.
Always bad.
I mean, it's always bad. It's
yeah.
On the other hand, it's interesting to see how many companies are running sales and things like online companies that need to 20% off, 30% off if you buy online. So it's kind of the opposite of price gouging. But yeah, I mean, price gouging is obviously not ethical. You should report anyone you see price gouging. And I think that the way that Amazon handled that was pretty great. Honestly, they nipped it in the bud pretty fast.
Yeah. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining. Oh yeah, Villanova's back at home or online.
Okay, so what about Spirit Airlines? I know you received this ad on Facebook recently.
I got it in my inbox.
I haven't seen anything written about this. Maybe the Daily Carnage, which is a great group for all of you marketers. Great Facebook group about advertising, PR, and marketing. I think this was posted in there.
Yeah, so I'm actually was supposed to be going to visit Julie in Disney World in a couple of weeks. Obviously that's canceled now, but Spirit Airlines was the flight the airline I was taking, so they sent me an email like, we've got a deal for you, like the day that all of this really blew up and went crazy. And it went into so many people's inboxes after they had, Trump had basically said that travel to Europe was being banned for 30 days. And I just think airlines need to be super sensitive about the language that they are putting in their email marketing, in their online communications, because traveling right now is highly discouraged by the government, by your state, by your county. And so for them to be kind of taking advantage of the fact that, oh, well, no one's buying airline tickets, so we'll sell you one for $40. Well, you're encouraging a bad behavior that we're trying to discourage right now. So for them to send, we've got a deal for you the day that a massive, pandemic is announced, is irresponsible.
Especially if people are likely going to have to cancel those or reschedule them, which would make it harder on the airline anyway. So all around, it was a poor decision on their part.
I thought it was a really poor decision. On the other hand, I think that, the airline industry in general has been trying to take it in stride, and what's, again, every company right now is facing difficulty in how to communicate this, and how their business should be running moving forward, because this is, as people keep saying, unprecedented times. So, American Airlines, I know they sent out an email saying if your flight is, in the coming months, wait until it's sooner to cancel it, because they're getting flooded with people trying to cancel their flight. So I think they are trying to take it in stride, but Spirit just was a little irresponsible with it.
Julie asks, what do you think about colleges shutting down for the rest of the semester? So, first of all, I want to say I'm so sorry, Taylor, Liam, all of our seniors on here who unfortunately probably won't get to return to campus. It's really, really horrible situation that I don't think any of us could imagine would ever happen. But I do think, these institutions need to have students, everybody's best interests at heart, which I do think a lot of them are doing really well. I know Boston University, my alma mater, the president posted a really nicely written letter today saying, we're going to be as flexible and sensitive as possible. If you need to stay on campus longer than the March 22 deadline, we'll make that happen. We know how hard it is for you to get home. And I think a lot of them are doing the messaging on this really well, because they know, schools, education, especially seem to be really hit hard by this. Yeah. So I think the ones canceling the rest of the semester, I think they had to do it. I think they're being cautious, and
because people, college age students, people our age, we're the ones that could potentially be carrying the virus and be asymptomatic and be spreading it to people who will it'll affect them much stronger. Yeah. So professors, professors range in all different kinds of ages, but you could just be exposing. It's like the outbreak effect. It's just, you might not have it, but then you touch something and then a professor touches it and then they go home to their family. It's just a spread, and I think it was the most responsible thing to do. I think most colleges are doing a good job of trying to communicate, how this is going to affect tuition and refunding on room and board. And as we've been saying with every company, this is an unprecedented time. Most people don't plan for this kind of thing. So I think most universities are trying to be as open and honest as they can and communicate these things. I think there have been some universities who got some backlash saying that, you know, they were giving students like 1 or 2 days notice of having to basically evacuate their homes, and some people aren't going to have the, you know, the means to do that. So I think that was maybe a little bit of a PR fail there in a sense of how universities handled it, but I think overall, yeah, it was handled pretty well.
Yeah. And another thing too, my friend Lauren is a school teacher, and she said that she's been getting backlash, or the teacher community are seeing messages from people who are saying, oh, you teachers just want a longer vacation, you just want a spring vacation, and that's why you're advocating for everybody to stay at home and learn at home. That's not the case at all. They want to teach.
Yeah.
They miss teaching, they miss being with their students. That's why they're teachers. So there's some really irresponsible messaging going around, and we just need to remember.
And shout out to all the teachers.
Positivity, yeah.
Because I know that there's plenty of parents right now who are put in uncomfortable situations where they're being forced to be a teacher and, you know, a worker and a mom all in the same 24 hours that they typically wouldn't have had to do before. Yeah. So I think, if anything, it's people are realizing how important teachers are, how important our healthcare workers are.
Yeah.
So if you have a healthcare worker or a teacher in your family, make sure to give them an extra social distance high five.
Elbow bump. A thank you.
Yeah.
Should we touch on another bad one? Another good and another bad one?
I want to do the NBA, because the NBA is good and bad. The NBA actually the organization in general was a PR success. They pretty much were the first people to start the wave of everything being suspended and shutting down. Rudy Gobert, he plays for the Utah Jazz. He tested positive for coronavirus, and once that came through, Adam Silver shut down and suspended the league, which is, again, unprecedented. How many you could play a happy hour drinking game with the amount of times I'm saying unprecedented in this Facebook Live. But and after that, they suspended the season. Obviously, that affects thousands of workers who come and are working concessions at the stadiums, who are ushers, who are, you know, ticket sales people. This affects so many people that might be working on an hourly salary that's now not, they're just missing out on the hours. They're not going to get that money back. They're not salaried. So I think that the success is the NBA players who have come forward and said that they're going to donate money to those workers. Kevin Love did it. Zion Williamson did it. Dwayne Wade isn't in the NBA anymore, but him and his wife said that they were going to donate meals to people. So there have been a number of players who are millionaires who are saying, I'm going to donate $100,000 and cover these people's wages, which I think is a huge thing. Zion Williamson, he's a 19-year-old. So to do something like that is incredible. And then on the flip side,
when the billionaire owner isn't doing it.
The billionaire owners are the fails to me in this situation, because they have the means. They own the team. They're billionaires. They have the means to potentially cover the cost, but they're letting the 19-year-old players handle it, which is still a great thing that they are, but they really need to step in. Mark Cuban did, and he's a great example of an owner that did the right thing, but I think letting your players handle that instead of being the first ones to come out and say, we're going to cover the cost, was kind of a PR fail.
Yeah, totally. Should we end on a couple of good ones?
Yes, we can end on some good ones.
Okay, so let's end with Nuuly and Starbucks. So Nuuly is, if you haven't heard of it, Nuuly. I know we talk about it a lot at Buchanan. It's Free People, Urban Outfitters, and Anthropologie's clothing subscription box. So, or clothing rental box. So you pick 6 items of clothing a month. I'm wearing this one because I won't have anywhere to go, so gotta get it in now. But since it's rentals, multiple people wear them. Multiple people might have coughed on them, but they sent out a message. I want to say like a couple of weeks ago, before all of this came out, basically saying exactly how they clean the products and how they're remaining vigilant during this time. So that was a really great message. Also, Urban Free People and Antho were three of the big retail companies I saw come out pretty early on this week or last week saying they were closing all of its stores and paying all of its staff. So that company in general has done a really great job. Also Starbucks, they're offering mental health benefits to all of its workers. I haven't seen any other company do that, so that's outstanding.
I think that's really ahead of the curve too, because I mean we're 3 days into our self-imposed quarantine right now, and I'm already like I'm going a little stir crazy. Like I'm just excited to go and walk the dogs so that we can have a different change of pace. But I think acknowledging that this is going to be a difficult time, one for the way you're working, how you're working, but also the news is wildly overwhelming right now. I always think it's been overwhelming the past couple of years, but to be hearing constantly about the new cases and potential deaths and how it's spreading in other countries, it feels like a silent killer in a sense that like you have a lack of control and you're worried about how it's going to affect not just you but your loved ones, and I'm super concerned about my grandparents.
Yeah, me too.
My parents, like it can be overwhelming. So for them to take that step and acknowledge that workers might need a little extra support there, I think is really important.
Yeah. So
I have a question there.
Stephanie says my heart aches for college students everywhere, but especially for Nova seniors.
Yeah.
I know. We are truly. It's sad. Also, I want you all to read Anne Buchanan's blog that she just wrote yesterday on the coronavirus and how we can appropriately craft our messaging to deal with the crisis. It's on our blog. You can go to buchananpr.com and you'll see it on the top there. It's another great resource if you're in PR and you're crafting messaging for your clients. That's a good place for some tips.
Yeah, and so we obviously I don't think we really know where we're going to be in 2 weeks, if we're going to be in this apartment or back in our offices, what the situation will be.
I also just realized they said we are when talking about Villanova. That's Penn State.
I was like,
I'm sorry.
Am I missing
Go Wildcats.
I was like, am I missing that like Villanova stole my alma mater slogan? I was like, I'm just going to let it go. But we are as Penn State
schools. Well, Penn State also, Villanova.
Penn State, yes.
All of our home schools here.
But as I said, we're not really sure where we're going to be, but we'll be coming at you live regardless in 2 weeks. If you have any, I think coronavirus is going to be dominating a lot of the news, but if you have any ideas of what you think we should talk about, or in the next 2 weeks have something that you see, feel free to DM us on Instagram, send it to us on Facebook. We're always open to people's ideas and things you're seeing. Oh, I want to give a little shout out to my friend Leslie Riley, who told me that Restoration Hardware, they had been a little slow in their response, and so thanks for letting us know about those companies, that the way they've been communicating their messaging. So we really appreciate all the feedback we get from you guys and everyone who's taking a little time out of their day to join us here in our apartment in Conshohocken.
Yeah.
I guess we'll sign off. The dogs actually behaved for the
very well.
For the majority of that. They're both asleep now.
Yeah.
So
tune in 2 weeks. Who knows, at that point we might be here, we might be in a different place. That seems to be the trend of this show. We're going live from various locations across the country.
So we are in Go Eagles.